Am I live, David? Good morning and welcome to the Planning Commission hearing, Santa Barbara County for June 28th. If you'll join me in the flag salute. Ready, begin.
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation.
Thank you, Mr. Villalobos. If you'll do the TV coverage announcement.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Planning Commission hearings are televised live on County and Santa Barbara Television, CSB TV Channel 20 at 9 a.m. in the South Coast, Lompoc, Santa Maria, Salinas, and Orchid areas. Rebroadcast of Planning Commission hearings are on Fridays at 5 p.m. on CSB TV Channel 20. Today's hearing will also be streamed live on CSB TV's website and will be available for download on the county's website. Now for the roll call.
Well, I'll let you do that when I call.
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Okay, thanks. All right. Thank you. So at this point, I am happy to announce that we have a new commissioner, planning commissioner for the 3rd District, Serene St. John. And if you'll approach the podium, we'll get you sworn in and make it official. And I believe we have a representative from the clerk's office in Santa Barbara. Is that correct? Here we go.
Good morning, everybody. And members of the Commission, public, it's my pleasure this morning to administer the oath of office to our newest member of the Planning Commission, Serene St. John. And this is a new first. We're going to do an oath over our video teleconferencing system. So Serene, if you can just raise your right hand and repeat after me, we'll go ahead and take care of the oath. I, Serene St. John, do solemnly swear
I, Serene St. John, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
to the Constitution of the United States and to the Constitution of the State of California.
That I take this obligation freely,
I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you'll take your seat.
Yay.
Thank you, Mr. Villalobos. Now you can call the roll.
Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself there. Commissioner St. John.
Here.
Commissioner Farini.
Here.
Commissioner Brown.
Here.
And Chair Blau.
Am I here?
Thank you. And for the record, Commissioner Cooney is absent today.
Great, thank you. Now, Ms. Black, if you'll give us the agenda status report and the projection report.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, and especially to our new Commissioner. Welcome. This morning we have 3 items on your agenda. One is a time extension on the consent calendar and 2 permit items. And as you can see, the Verizon at Vieja project is going, or we're requesting a continuance, and when that item comes up, we will give you the date. Otherwise, we're ready to move forward with the consent item and with the other permit item.
Okay.
Moving on to the projection report, if you'd like.
Yep.
So we've already canceled the July 5th hearing, so there won't be a hearing next week. You can enjoy your 4th of July and not have to worry about coming into a hearing. We will be meeting again on July 12th. As you can see, we only have 1 hearing item that day, but it's one that's important to the parties involved. So we've got the Los Alamos Cemetery District lot line adjustment and land swap. July 26th, as you can see, we don't have anything projected, and so I would recommend that the Commission go ahead and cancel that. meeting, given our lead times. I'm pretty certain that there won't be anything that will be on that agenda. And you have a hearing on August 2nd in Santa Barbara, and we have a couple of items on that day. We have a hearing on August 9th, and that would be in Santa Maria again, and we have 2 items on at the moment on that day. And then August 30th, we won't be meeting on August 23rd, because on the 4th Wednesday, when there are 5 Wednesdays in a month, we meet on the 5th Wednesday. So what we do have a hearing on August 30th with several items on, and then you can see September 6th at the moment doesn't have anything projected, and we do have something projected for September 13th. So that's what your calendar looks like, at least at this particular moment.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the commission? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to cancel the hearing of July 26th.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those, that's roll call. Sorry, David.
Commissioner St. John,
Aye.
Commissioner Farini,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Chair Blau.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Great, thank you. Okay, this is the point in the hearing which we will take public comment for anything not on today's agenda. And I don't see any slips in the box. I see no one rising, no one in Santa Barbara. Great. Then we ask if there's any planning commission informational reports. Seeing none. Now the agenda calls for, we have some minutes to approve, although I'm going to suggest that we not do that today. The minutes were pretty extensive, and I want to have Commissioner Cooney a chance to look at it before we actually do the approval. So we'll skip that. Next on the agenda is...
So, Mr. Chair, will you be then continuing those minutes to your July 12th hearing?
Yes, do we need a motion for that, or we just do it?
I think we should probably take a motion to
So I'll
continue.
entertain a motion to move them to the July 12th hearing. Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call again, David?
Commissioner St. John,
Aye.
Commissioner Farini,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Chair Blau.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, and do we have a director's report, Ms. Black?
Yes, I'll be giving the director's report today. Dr. Russell is on vacation. So since your last hearing, we had 2 hearings before the board. One was the budget hearings the week of June 12th, and our budget was adopted as we submitted, so there were no real surprises. And I won't comment on the rest of the county's budget, but it was, I think, a difficult budget for the board, and we will have some additional difficult budgets for the board in the next few years. On June 20th, the board had a number of items on their administrative agenda that I thought you'd be interested in. They did approve a contract for the cannabis EIR, and that EIR will be prepared by AMAC consulting firm, actually the consulting firm that's working with us on the Barone Ranch project as well. They also received a report on 2 emergency permits that were issued in Isla Vista for cutbacks of properties as a result of the winter storms. They had a public convenience and necessity determination on for the Casmalia Corner Market, because that area, I guess because the population is so low, it's a saturated area and required action by the board. And then they had 2 departmental items. One was the transitional and supportive housing item that your commission heard a couple months ago, and the board did approve it as it was submitted by your commission. The other item was CREF, and there were a number of actions that the board took with respect to CREF. They did approve the CREF allocations for 2017, and did not exactly follow the staff recommendation, made some modifications, and ended up funding Marine Mammal Public Awareness Project, Santa Claus Lane Street Engineering Project, which is a project that's been funded over the years through CREF and other methods, a marine-themed interpretive sign project, History of Oil exhibit at the Marine museum at the harbor, the Barone Ranch Trail Alignment, they funded $20,000 for that, 2 fish passage projects, and a marine-themed exhibit at the Santa Maria Valley Discovery Museum. And then they also had 2 acquisition projects, the Carpinteria Bluff acquisition and the Matilda Drive acquisition. Different for this year, or a couple items. First of all, the board has begun a process to set aside $1 million that we're obligated to set aside for potential coastal access improvements at Hollister Ranch. Back when CREF was originally crafted, the Coastal Commission required that $1 million from the Point Pedernales project be set aside. The county chose not to do that at that time because, as I think most of your commissioners are aware, there hasn't been any coastal access movement at Hollister Ranch. There is a lawsuit pending with the Hollister Ranch Association with respect to a particular coastal access program, and so we believe it's prudent to plan for the potential that that improvement may occur. So we're starting a set-aside program. The board also modified the CREF guidelines to only allocate CREF every other year until the pipeline is back in operation, because 2 of our projects, more than 2 platforms, aren't in operation right now, and so there's a reduced CREF allocation for those platforms. So the amount of money that we have to allocate is really diminished, and so we thought going on an every other year cycle would be the right way to go. And then they also extended a CREF award for the Trust for Public Land for the acquisition of the Gaviota Marine Terminal property. They had granted that last year, and they've given the Trust for Public Land 2 additional years to perfect a contract to purchase that property. So that's what happened in terms of CREF. And the other issue I just wanted to raise with the Planning Commission, I think you're aware that the board heard options for dealing with hoops, permitting of hoops, and directed the department director to consider a determination path for permitting, or basically saying that hoops under 20 feet are exempt from permits. The director did issue that determination, and it is an appealable determination, and on Monday, right before 5 o'clock, we did receive an appeal. So we expect to bring that to the commission relatively soon. It's not something we want to wait too long on, and so we are looking at August 9th as a potential date for your commission to hear that appeal. So other than that, I don't think I have anything else to report, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Brown, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, seeing no lights, we will move on. So, David, if you'll read the first item into the record.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The following is a hearing on the request of Royce Llewellyn and Lucas and Llewellyn LP to consider case number 17 TEX6, application filed on March 15, 2007 for a 1-year time extension to March 24, 2008, and to accept, or for case number 03 DVP1, and to accept the previously adopted mitigated negative declaration, case number 08 NGD1, as adequate environmental review for case number 17 TEX6, pursuant to section 15162 of the state guidelines for the implementation of the California Environmental Quality Act.
Thank you. This is a consent item. I will be asking for any public comment, but I do see Judge Llewellyn in the audience. Did he want us to address the commission at all, or are you good? He's good to go. So I'll ask, is there anyone that wants to speak on this issue? Seeing no one rise and seeing no slips in the box, I believe we can take a motion to do the extension. This is a third district item. So, Commissioner St. John, you're up.
I move approval of the consent agenda, and particularly the full staff recommendation for item number C1.
Second.
We have a second. That's great. David, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner St. John.
Aye.
Commissioner Farini.
Aye.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
Chair Blau.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Great, thank you. It's approved.
So, Mr. Chair, if I could just pause for a second and introduce a relatively new staff person.
That'd be great.
She wasn't able to speak on this item because you didn't pull it, but Shannon Reese is new to the department, and I just wanted the commission to
Great.
meet her and understand that we have another new good staff person on
That's
board.
great. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Mr. LeBeau, if we read our first item on the standard agenda, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The following is a hearing on the request of Ben Hexted of Sequoia Deployment Services, agent for the applicant Verizon Wireless and property owner Southern California Joint Poll Committee, to consider case number 15 CUP 23, application filed on August 7, 2015, and to accept the CEQA exemption pursuant to section 15303 and 15304 of the state guidelines for the implementation of the California Environmental Quality Act.
Great, thank you. And before we start the hearing, I'll ask for ex parte or site visits.
Mr. Chair, I have no further ex parte.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we have a staff report. I don't see a staff person.
So, Mr. Chair, you should have received a memo requesting a continuance
Oh, I'm
of this
sorry.
item. So this is a telecom project that I think your commission's seen 4 or 5 times before. And we did receive a shot clock extension, which allows us to continue this item until September 27th. Your memo says 2018, but it's not that long. It's 2017. So my recommendation would be that you make a motion to continue to September 27th.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Brown, would you like to do that?
Yes, and I will make that motion.
Second.
Great, thank you. Mr. LeBeau, call the roll, please.
Commissioner St. John,
Aye.
Commissioner Ferrani,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Chair Blau.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Great. Now we'll get to the second item on our agenda. We have a real hearing going. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The following is a hearing on the request of Rita Bright, agent for the applicant County of Santa Barbara Community Services Department Parks Division, to consider case number 16 CUP 29, 16 CDP 105, and 17 GOV 2. Applications received on December 28, 2016, December 13, 2016, and June 16, 2017, and to adopt the mitigated negative declaration prepared by the County of Santa Barbara Community Services Department Parks Division under the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to the guidelines for the implementation of CEQA.
Great, thank you. And now again, I'll ask for site visits or ex parte.
I
And I see Commissioner St. John.
I toured the site on Sunday, June 25th with Mr. Mark Wilkinson of the Santa Barbara Trails Council, and received a packet of information from him that he's using with fundraisers, for fundraising with donors, and it's been distributed by staff, because part of it was in the packet and part of it wasn't.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown? Site
I have
visits,
no
ex
ex
parte?
parte.
Site visits or ex parte communications? None? Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're ready for a staff report, I gather.
Good morning, Chair, members of the Commission. Today I'll be presenting the Barone Ranch Trail Realignment Project. The project is located on the county-owned Barone Ranch property, just north of Highway 101 and east of the Tajigas landfill on the Gaviota coast. On the slide, we see the subject property highlighted in purple, and Arroyo Quemado Creek bisects the property. And this slide shows the existing and proposed trail elements. The existing trail is shown in brown, and it's located to the east of the creek currently. The proposed project would include a new vehicular turnaround. You can see it down at the bottom of the screen there, the trail would then cross over a new pedestrian bridge located here, and would be realigned to the west side of the creek. The realigned trail is shown by the dashed yellow line on the slide here. Portions of the project are located in the coastal zone, and portions are also located within the inland area. The state coastal zone boundary is shown by the blue dashed line on the screen. A conditional use permit and coastal development permit are required for the portions of the project within the coastal zone. and a Government Code 65402 consistency determination is required for the portions of the project in the coastal zone as well as the portions of the project within the inland area. And here we see a closer up version of the proposed turnaround and proposed bridge locations. And again, the proposed turnaround is located, it's highlighted in white here, and it would be located just off of Calle Real in an existing disturbed area, and it would provide turnaround space for larger vehicles as well as equestrian trailers. And this slide shows an elevation and plan view of the proposed bridge. The bridge would be a 65-foot long and 8-foot wide multi-use bridge, a prefabricated structure, and it would be situated upon concrete abutments. Vegetation disturbed during installation of the bridge would be approximately 200 square feet of vegetation would be replaced and restored at a ratio of 3:1. And no trees are proposed for removal, but tree limbing would occur to accommodate the installation of the bridge. It would occur under the direction of an arborist, and if unexpected damage occurs, trees would be replaced at a ratio of 10:1. A mitigated negative declaration was prepared for the project. It was prepared by the Community Services Department Parks Division and was circulated from February 9th to March 10th, 2017. No public comments were received on the document. The document found significant but mitigable impacts in the areas of biological resources, fire, and noise. With regard to biological resources, the site supports a number of sensitive resources. Arroyo Quemado Creek bisects the site and supports riparian vegetation and special status aquatic species such as the red-legged frog. The site also supports sensitive plants, including Santa Barbara honeysuckle and Plummer's baccharis. Supports native trees, bats, raptors, and potential songbird and potential raptor habitat. Impacts to biological resources would be mitigated to less than significant through the implementation of erosion control measures, construction best management practices, species surveys, biological monitoring, training of construction personnel, tree protection and replacement, bat avoidance, and bird surveys and buffers as necessary. The project is located in a high fire hazard area, and impacts related to high fire hazard will be mitigated through the implementation of a fire management and emergency response plan that would be prepared by county parks in consultation with county fire. It would specify things such as trail clearance, timing, and so forth. Noise-sensitive uses have the potential to be impacted by temporary construction noise, and impacts associated with that would be mitigated to less than significant through equipment shielding and construction hour limitations. As discussed in detail in the staff report, the project would be consistent with all applicable policies as mitigated. It requires only minor grading and would be constructed per the recommendations of the project engineer. Materials used for the bridge and fencing would be compatible with the agricultural nature of the area. There would be no interference with agricultural production, no disturbance to cultural resources, and the project has been mitigated to ensure protection of sensitive biological resources. And specifically, the project is consistent with coastal land use policies pertaining to environmentally sensitive habitat, as coastal policies identify trails as permissible within the riparian corridor. Finally, all impacted native vegetation would be restored. The project is also consistent with applicable requirements for rural recreation within the Ag 2 zone. It would be in character with the setting, would not interfere with agricultural production or include commercial facilities, and does not require the extension of urban services. Therefore, staff's recommendation is that your commission make the required findings for approval of the project, including CEQA findings, adopt the mitigated negative declaration, and adopt the mitigation monitoring program, approve the project, determine that the proposed project conforms with the comprehensive plan, and direct staff to transmit the conformity report required by Government Code Section 65402A to the Community Services Department and to the Board of Supervisors. And before I end my presentation, I just wanted to note that Claude Garcia Soleil is here from County Parks to assist in answering questions related to parks operations. And down in Santa Barbara, Taylor Lane and Rita Bright are available. They are representatives from AMEC, which is the firm that prepared the mitigated negative declaration.
Great, thank you. Other questions of the staff from the commission? Commissioner St. John.
Yes, thank you, Chair Blau. I have a few, and I have talked with the planner on this too. The first one of my questions is about the installation of the bridge at the proposed location. It's my understanding there's a lot of factors that are getting balanced in the location of that bridge at that particular location. And when I was on the site, it looks like it's right under the canopy of two sycamore trees that meet right in the middle, and it looks like there could be severe limbing of the one on the right. So if one of you could talk about why the bridge is located there and just the factors that went into the decision, and a little bit about how the bridge is actually going to get installed over the creek.
Chair and Commissioner St. John, I'll start, and then if Claude wants to add more, I'll let him jump in. So the bridge is located in this particular location for a couple of reasons. The main reason being that if you look, I put up on the screen, there's a curve in the creek in this particular location, and as you can, so that curve represents a more geologically stable area, which is why which is one of the main reasons why this location was chosen, to help to provide a stable location for the bridge and to avoid erosion and undercutting of the abutments as time goes on. In addition, the goal was to, from the Parks Department, as I understand it, was to place the bridge as early as possible on the trail, so that the trail could be realigned from the east side to the west side, so that hikers would avoid the agricultural production side of the property. And then my understanding is that the bridge is prefabricated and would be lowered into place using a crane, and that this location is the best location for the staging of the crane, due to the fact that it's currently used for parking associated with maintenance of the property and of the agricultural area. And I'll let Claude jump in if he has more.
Sure. Good morning, Commissioners. Commissioner St. John. I think I will add to this that we were looking at, the bridge needs to cross perpendicular at the creek area, and part of the location issue was also getting the trail and the termination of the bridge, particularly on the south side, away from the road. People tend to congregate right before they cross the bridge. It's just kind of a human nature type of thing. There's a bit of a pause before they continue, so we didn't want people staying on the road for too long. And then also at the north end, as you can see, there's an agricultural road that comes down, and then there's an agricultural road that continues along the riparian area. So the idea was to connect to those roads. Those become a part of the trail itself. With regards to the trees, yes, there are mature sycamores there. We did take a look at what would be necessary, and there will be some limbing of the trees, no removals. There may be some severe limbing potentially, but we don't think that it will affect the integrity of the trees. The bridge comes in two pieces. It's delivered to the site, and it is bolted together at the site, and then a crane comes in and places it on the abutments that are built on either side of it. So that's the reason for the tree work. And we will do that under an arborist guidance, and of course remove the least amount possible.
Continue, Commissioner St. John.
So in case the tree would die, just in case, the one that's going to be significantly limbed, we could potentially, we already have a replacement in here of impacted trees described in the second dot of the project description at 10 to 1, if if it was to die, but we could put something in that it would have to be the similar type of tree. Would that be feasible or good?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner, yes, that certainly would be feasible. We're within a riparian zone. Those are sycamore trees that are, native to the area. There's been ongoing restoration work actually by the Resource and Recovery Department, and I'm sure we could work the replacement of those trees within that area. We are pretty confident, though, that the tree will survive. As you noted, the most that might be taken from that tree is about a third of the tree, and that should maintain a viable tree.
Continue.
Okay, thank you. I have a couple other questions. One other question that came up was, it's my understanding that that dogs will now be allowed on the trail. And when I was out there on Sunday, I talked with Mr. Wilkinson, and it wasn't clear, and it isn't anything in the packet, I don't think, about how to handle the dog excrement that could accumulate along the trail. And so I wondered, has there been thought to that, and what could be done to envision some kind of stations with those pickup bags? Or because I also don't think I saw any information on litter cans. I mean, it's kind of a trail. I know there's an ethic of pack out what you bring in, but could you speak to that?
Sure, Mr. Chair, Commissioner St. John. Our typical trailhead location setup, if you will, is a kiosk for information purposes, mutt mitts, and then a trash can situation. So that will be what is provided here. Now, this is somewhat a little bit different situation in that it is more of a remote trail. In some of the real remote areas there, it is a pack in, pack out type of situation. It is the current situation with the existing Phase 1 trail that has been open there for a number of years, actually. But we will move forward with some enhanced amenities out there for that. And we're actually in conversation also with state parks to see if they will assist us with regards to the trash removal, particularly since they have resources there. And the ultimate location, the ultimate terminus of this trail is actually Gaviota State Park. So there is some connection between what will be a county trail and a county trail going through National Forest Service area, and then the northern terminus is actually Gaviota Hot Springs parking area, if you're familiar with that. So people have the option, of course, of either going up and down or do a short hike, but the through hike interconnects with all three agencies, actually. So we will cooperate with them, but there will be services at the trailhead.
Okay, thank you. One other question, let's see, I had the trees. One other question that I discussed with Mrs. Liu is that it will, just to confirm that it will continue to be a prohibition on all motorized vehicles. There wouldn't be off-roading mountain bikes or quads or anything like that.
That's correct. This is a multiple-use non-motorized trail, and the sections that are used within the federal and state areas are also non-motorized at these locations.
And Chair and Commissioner St. John, if you wanted to add language to the project description to make it abundantly clear that motorized vehicles are not allowed, I do have the language up on the screen underlined, could be added to the project description if you wish to.
Okay, thank you. And similarly about the tree, circling back lastly to the tree, we had discussed that maybe putting a little bit more about if the tree was to damage and to die, that it would be replaced with 10-to-1 with a similar species. And the other question that I had discussed with Mrs. Liu was the arborist is required in the conditions of approval to be on site in condition 7, I think it is, of both the CUP and the CDP, but it doesn't really say what the arborist does. So we could add something similar to what the biologist language is.
Chair and Commissioner St. John, I'll just start with the last item you mentioned. This is the condition regarding the on-site biologist, and we could add the, if you would like to, if your commission would like to, we could add the language that states specifically what the duties of the project arborist would be. I have it underlined here. It would state the project arborist will monitor and direct all limbing, trimming, and root cutting, as well as any activities that could potentially impact trees. And that would just make it more explicit what the duties are of the arborist versus the on-site biologist.
Great, thank
So
you.
That is an option if you would like to add it. And then the other language that is available is, in addition to the project description specifying that trees would be replaced on a 10-to-1 basis, we do have a standard county condition, which is on the screen here for you to read if you'd like, and it fleshes out the procedure under which that replacement would occur. So this is also available to be added as a new condition to the project.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if we need to make them post a bond since we're already requiring the arborist, or that they would necessarily have to stop work to replant, but part of that might be able to be added. Thank you for that.
Chair and Commissioner St. John, we could also, if the particular information that you're concerned about has to do with it being a similar type species, then we could also modify the project description to state on a 10-to-1 basis with the same species as the tree that is removed in lieu of this condition.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all my questions.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Brown, do you have any questions?
Yes, sir, I do. And these are for Mr. Garcia-Soleil. The questions I have pertain primarily to trail users. And the first one is about the turnaround space, which I presume is being made big enough for equestrian vehicles. It's been my experience in seeing some of these equestrian vehicles that have multiple horses, like 4 horses per vehicle, or not just some small trailer. Will this turnaround space accommodate several big equestrian vehicles? Because I think what may happen is you may have the commercial outfits coming over from San Ynez Valley with their horses and folks taking trail rides. Can you just speak to that first, that issue on that turnaround?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Brown, yes, I'd be happy to. So the way that the turnaround is set up is that it is indeed for turnaround only. There is no parking within the turnaround area. Parking occurs along the shoulder, which is adequate, at the end of that extension of Calle Real there, which is a public road right-of-way. So there is enough room. We consulted with equestrian users and people who do trailer horses to the area with regards to any commercial activity from outfitters. That would actually take a permit from our department for them to be able to use that for that purpose. So we could control that to a certain degree. And I think those were your questions. Yes. So the parking occurs
right
along currently as it is along the shoulders of Calle Real.
Okay. And what can you tell me the conditions of those shoulders? Are they dirt, paved, wide enough?
They are a hard
accommodate however many cars.
They are a hard packed surface. It could accommodate. I mean, currently the shoulder is clear. so it can accommodate parking on both sides of the road, and it's lengthy there. So there's plenty of parking there. Minimal traffic because it is a dead-end road. There's actually only a couple of houses served. And one additional property before you get to Barone Ranch itself. So it is, there's minimal use on that road.
Okay. Then the second question has to do with motorized vehicles. Is there, having been on trails where not necessarily here, but in other areas where I hike, where there's indicated no motorized vehicles, there is nothing to prohibit there from entering. In other words, like some places you see bollards or something as entries to trailways, and I don't know if there's a problem in the county about motorized vehicles on trails that don't allow them. Maybe you could just speak to that issue, and if there is any problems about placing bollards at the beginning of trails to limit their access.
Commissioner Brown, we have not had problems with motorized vehicles on our trails, the county trails. And we do, the intent here is just beyond the turnaround area, there will actually be a gated area so that vehicle use into the ranch will actually require for those users to go through the gate with their vehicles. To the side of that gate will actually be the trail entrance itself. So there's limited space for access, trail user access, and typically we do either bollards or more likely a metal bar, as it were, across the trail. It's a step over situation, which makes it more difficult for instance, people to try to get a motorcycle over that area.
Okay, that's great. A question on, I know the absence of information means it's not allowed, but in this county, people don't know that. So there is no lighting at the staging area or in the parking area, nothing proposed like that? You're not planning any lighting?
Commissioner Brown, no lighting is proposed.
Okay. And concerning the dog issue, I think the county has an ordinance that requires the people pick up after their dogs. Is that? And I'm wondering, when you make signage, if you could indicate that. And there's some fine, I think, too, and if they don't.
That's correct on both.
So that
counts.
would.
Yes, and that will.
Okay, great. So I wonder if that.
I'm sorry.
Be part of it. So that will be part of your signage information.
Yes, Commissioner Brown, that will be part. It is currently a part of the signage information and will continue to be.
Good.
So dogs on leash.
Okay, great.
And pick up after yourself. Yes, and those are finable offenses if people are caught not doing what they should be doing.
Good. Okay, and the last question I have is about info on the county's website or someplace about this property and these trails, and I realize this is a limited sort of use because you're only open 3 days a week, but I was trying to find some information about it, and the first site that came up was the All Trails website, which for us hikers is really great because it shows you trails everywhere in the United States. But here, I couldn't find any information. I was even looking at the Trails Council's website, but there was no link. There was really not clear information about how to get here because it is a sort of a problem area to find. There's no signs. On Calle Real, at that exit from the freeway, is there going to be a sign? Will you be putting a sign that says Barone Ranch Trail to the right or something? What will you be doing sort of to help advertise or help people find this?
Commissioner Brown, there is some information on the County Parks website. Currently, the current trail is closed at the moment. There was some severe damage as part of the winter storms. So I think what you'll find on our website at this point is a notice that the trail is closed. There will be no signage off of Highway 101. but we will have good information on our website, and then it will also be on the Santa Barbara Trails Council and other sites. When we opened the trail originally, there was actually some really good press with regards to that. There was actually an article in Sunset Magazine about the new trail open, and we'll attempt to do that again. But no, there's no proposal to do signage off the highway.
No, it wasn't off the highway. It was as you come off the highway and you're onto Calle Real, you have to turn, I think, to the right. Is that what you have to do? You have to turn to the left.
You turn to the left.
Is it obvious to people? Is that obvious to people coming off the freeway where to go?
Well, if you've read the information beforehand, you may know it, but not a bad suggestion, actually, that to perhaps work with Public Works Roads to get some signage, right off the highway there on Calle Real itself.
Yes, that was my only point. And it would be helpful because people, when they're looking for trails, they don't go on Santa Barbara County parks to look for trails. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't think of that as the first thing to do. So I'm just wondering if there's some other way for the Santa Barbara County Trails to link with, I didn't see any link when I went on their site to the county parks website. Maybe there is. Maybe I just didn't look. But if there is, no, since Mr. Wilkinson is here, if he would consider doing that. Anyway, those are my questions. Thank you for the nice project, and I think there will be a lot of people using this. It's a beautiful spot. That's all I have.
Commissioner Brown, just to finish up, I'm certain we will work with the Santa Barbara Trails Council, which is a site that a lot of people go to make sure that we have some good information on that site with regards to the trail.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Farini.
Back to staff. On page 13 of the new handout, and we've got all motorized vehicles prohibited in parentheses. And I think we might want to work with that a little, because then in context it says from 8 a.m. to sunset. Okay, do you get it? So after sunset, you're saying it's okay to run your motorized vehicle. Unless that's your intent.
Yeah, so I think what it should read, I agree, is that the trail is open from 8 a.m. to sunset 7 days a week. It should be a separate sentence, not following the parentheses to talk about the vehicle prohibition.
Okay, can we agree on that change?
Thank you. Other things?
And I need some background here. So on page 14, we're discussing the project arborist and what they will do. And so the project arborist, could you go over with me, are they certified by the state? Are they educated, or do I just call myself an arborist? Is it like an engineer or an architect in a professional degree?
Chair and Commissioner Farini, there's a few ways to answer that question. One is that there is a specific certification that you get as an arborist. The county also holds a list of arborists that's available to the public, which we call the County Qualified Arborists List, but applicants or property owners are free to hire an arborist that has the certification. There's a national certification for arborists that can be obtained that would certify them. So we could change that language to certified project arborist or to arborist from the county qualified list.
That would be more typical, wouldn't it? That we would say it was a county approved or certified arborist would be used in a project.
Commissioner Farini, if I may add also, the Public Works Division Resource Recovery folks have done extensive restoration work there, so it's our intent to use the professionals and consultants that they've used all along there with that work. But and yes, there is. It certainly would make, you could certainly include certified arborist as part of the language.
Okay, so then since they are approved by the county, What I'm concerned with adding this extra language in is that you are now limiting their scope. And if their scope is, if they already have that authority under us hiring them, then I don't know why we would add redundant language in if that's already their scope of work.
Well, if I could follow on with that comment, this is a county project, am I correct? So, I mean, I'm having a tough time seeing the need to tell the county how they're going to do the project when it's their project. I don't get it. For example, the next page talked about performance bonds. Why would the county put up a performance bond to the county? It makes no sense. So I could see if this is done by some outside agency, I'd be more concerned about it. But if it's actually the county doing the work, I can't imagine the county doing anything that's environmentally adverse to the property they own. Did I miss something here?
Mr. Chair, the reason that we have mitigation measures applied to this project, even though it's a county project, is to comply with CEQA requirements and permitting requirements. So the particular condition that has to do with the on-site biologist and arborist, which I'll put up on the screen now, is a mitigation measure that was identified in the mitigated negative declaration. So I don't think that there's an expectation that the county will not do a good job or not do what they would plan to do. What this mitigation measure would provide for is that if they have already arborists and biologists that they're working with at county parks, then they would of course be county qualified and they would be able to execute the requirements of this mitigation measure. And so they would be able to use those staff persons, and this just specifically lays out what would be required so that from an environmental review standpoint, we can make the case that impacts would be mitigated to less than significant.
Mr. Chair.
Wish for you to have more questions.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, there was some additional language that was potentially proposed, an additional condition that had the language about bonding in it and that type of thing. And certainly if your commission was considering that additional language, then we would want to modify that to remove that information, the county's self-bonding.
Commissioner Frady, you have more?
Well, as we move on to page 15, then I'm not sure where we ended up with. I'll go back to page 14. I'm not sure that I heard that this is confining the arborist, and is it unnecessary language because they already have that authority under the project? And I think Ms. Black is going to help me out here.
So, Mr. Chair, I would say the project description addition about all motorized vehicles being prohibited is not necessary. I mean, it's perfectly fine to do. It's consistent with the way that Parks operates their trails. With respect to the clarification on the project arborist, I don't think that's confining. I don't think it's necessary, but it's not harmful to specify it. And then the other condition about the tree protection plan, I think this would require us to take a look at it. I think the project description is adequate. We can provide more clarification if that's the desire of the commission, but I tend to agree with Commissioner Blau. This is a county project, and I think will be executed in a way that's consistent with county practices. So
Okay.
it's up to the commission if you want to be more specific, consistent with the way that we operate. That's fine. I just don't think it's absolutely necessary. But
Okay.
it's up to you.
I agree with that. I don't think we need to add more language in than is necessary. And then on 15, I think what I heard is the concern was that's a sycamore tree that is the tree of potential impact. And this doesn't even talk about that on page 15. So I'm not a fan of this language. It has blue oaks in it, or blue or valley 15 to 1, but it's not speaking specifically, and I don't think we need a whole nother page of language in there, but we'll see how everybody feels about that.
So Mr. Chair, Mr. Villalobos reminds me that we haven't yet taken public comment. I think
Well,
there is
I'm no,
but we're
there
starting to
yet.
really start deliberating on conditions, so I think we probably ought to move to public comment and then go back to the
great.
comments
So
on
I have
conditions.
one speaker slip for Mr. Wilkinson in Santa Barbara.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Mark Wilkinson. I'm the Executive Director of the Santa Barbara County Trails Council. As you may know, the Trails Council was established 5 decades ago to protect and maintain hundreds of miles of trails all across Santa Barbara County, and today we're doing a lot more than that. I think the Barone Ranch project is typical of some of the changes we've made in our organization. For example, we've taken an active role in planning the Barone Ranch Trail project, and we've taken an active role in fundraising for this project. So what I'd also like to do is to thank the County Planning Department, the County Public Works Department, and the County Parks for working together to improve this project that was envisioned almost a decade ago. The trail as it is today was established 7 years ago, and so here we are having a chance to improve the project, create a better experience for a community of trail users, as well as open up the area to school children and other people to see a fantastic habitat restoration project. So I applaud all those who have worked to make this project successful, and I look forward to your approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers in Santa Barbara?
No.
Thank you. And I have no speaker slips here, so I will close the public comment and bring it back to the commission for deliberations. This is a 3rd District item. Commissioner St. John's, how would you like to proceed?
I first wanted to just say that the language about the bond and the whole tree protection plan, I don't think we need it.
Great.
And I think I may have mumbled that and not been real clear. But I think if we just have something in the condition, which I could put with a motion if we're ready, but I think the project is great. And I think with just a couple of the changes that Ms. Black summarized, that I would be ready to move approval, but I would like to hear from the other commissioners.
Okay. Commissioner Brown, would you like to go first?
Yes, thank you. I'm highly supportive of these projects. As a hiker myself, I think it's really wonderful that the county is doing this, and I really appreciate Mr. Wilkinson and his organization's very long time support of county efforts. It does a lot for recreation in our community, so I appreciate that. So I think it's a great project. I think it's a really wonderful project. I think just the few tweaks that we've considered today will make it even that much better, but looking forward to it, and be nice when it's open and we can go hiking on it. Thank you.
Great. Commissioner Farini.
Yeah, I think it's a nice project, and I'm ready to move forward with Commissioner St. John and Brown.
I'm ready also. Let's just try and take a look at what we're going to do about page 13. I think, Ms. Black, I'll do one of two things. Either take out all motorized vehicles prohibited from that project description 01, or take it out and move it at the end of 7 days a week as a new sentence. All motorized vehicles will be prohibited, so we don't get confusion from the motorized vehicles being from 8 a.m. to sunset. So if you agree with that,
That
I
makes
think
good sense.
we're all in agreement, so staff will do that. So if I'm hearing it right, we don't need the things on page 13 and or page 14 and 15. It's kind of like just that's the county doing it. We don't need it. You agree?
As long as it's clear, what I was picturing with the arborist is the biologist's duties are like really clear and they have stop work authority. I'm just picturing burly construction workers out there on a budget trying to get things done, and an arborist kind of going, wait, you're supposed to do it this way. I just was trying to make sure that that person would have the authority on site, and if staff feels they already do have it, then then that's okay with me.
Yeah, I think they do,
Otherwise,
so.
I was trying to elaborate that.
So I think we have consensus on that. We don't need 14 or 15. So with that, I'll let you make your motion again. And just as a suggestion, what we normally like to do is we'll move staff's recommendation with the one change on page 12. Or page 13, excuse me. So that's what I'd suggest. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'd like to move staff's recommendation with the one change on page 13 and just the addition on the bullet with the replacement of the tree, just that it would be of the same species.
I think we're all consensus there. Okay? So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Not seeing any lights, Mr. Villalobos, if you'll call the roll.
Commissioner St. John,
Aye.
Commissioner Farini,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Chair Blau.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Great. Thank you very much. We're done. Congratulations on becoming a commissioner. I hope you
Thank
enjoy
you.
it. All right.
Just a warning, not all meetings are this short.
I told you that to start with this morning.
Yes. Yes.
Here again, that's correct. July 12th. Great.
Great.